So I made it clear about the media game that doesn't want to talk at all about how bad Labor is with money. Well, what about the protection racket that they are running for the Labor Party and its backdoor way of introducing a carbon tax, or a little more detailed, a price disincentive for the heaviest polluters amongst us? Either way, somebody pays and then you, the customer, have to pay. It's exactly the same idea as Rudd, Gillard and Shorten. It's just a different way to do it. Of course, Chris Bowen is the hapless soul who will be putting all of this system in place, but he pretends that there's nothing to see here. There's no system in place because it definitely won't affect coal mines. Remember the lie we told you about last week that Labor was putting out there? Oh, don't worry, coal mines, they will be spared. But of course, that's a lie because Chris Bowen himself says in a yes-no answer, they will pay.
So yes, we will require the 215 emitters to reduce their emissions to net zero by 2050. So does that is what the Business Council has asked to happen.
Does it include coal mines?
Yes.
Oh, and despite the fact that his deputy minister says, no, this isn't true, he confirmed it again today on Taxpayer Radio.
The facility, the company, will then be able to work out how they reduce emissions. Might be direct investment in emissions reduction, might be purchasing of carbon credits. That is up to the facility.
Oh, might be a little of this, might be a little of that. Either way, somebody pays. The Prime Minister took aim again today.
The carbon credits scheme that Labor has put in place, just to be clear, it not only affects the coal industry, it affects mining and oil and gas production. It affects rail freight. It affects cement production. It affects fuel refining, and many other sectors are caught up in those arrangements, which would see them penalised and taxed.
Oh, but don't worry, everyone. Despite the fact that we have shown you the detail, we have told you how they are going to do it, and the Shadow Minister has confirmed that that is the plan across 215 businesses across the country. Not small ones. 215 of the biggest businesses, biggest employers in the entire country, with millions of customers right across the country. The Guardian says all of this is fake news. All of this is just made up in a fever dream, despite the fact that, I repeat, we are quoting Labor's policy. And just to drive this home, I want to show you what Joel Fitzgibbon, the man who is getting out of Dodge because he knows what's coming with Labor Greens, forming a coalition in a minority government, he explains that the mechanism the Labor Party plans to use is one that delivers a carbon tax.
There's a thing called a safeguards mechanism, which is a carbon constraint or a carbon tax, whatever you might like to call it.
Seriously, how many times do we need to say this? The policy, the Shadow Minister and the bloke who told them not to do this is saying it's a carbon tax. Nice try, lefties, but again, no conversation here on the media. They have been caught out red-handed yet again, but the protection racket, it rolls on. None of this at your 6 p.m. news. As for the PM, he was in regional Australia today, standing up for the people who don't look down on their fellow Australians like so many of the wankers in the inner parts of the inner city.
You witnessed this sort of thing firsthand at the last election, courtesy of Bob Brown and the Greens and their convoy to central Queensland. A convoy against coal jobs. This was the Green left in this country basically saying, we're more virtuous than you and we think you need to change. That's what they were saying. Now, that's not a country I know, and nor is it a country I want Australia to ever be.